Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Please help support Joni and our team by subscribing and turning on notifications.
Good morning, everyone. Let's grab a coffee and catch up on everything happening in the stock market. Today, we've got a lot of exciting stories to dive into, from hot political issues that have shaken the U.S. stock market to the highly anticipated earnings report from NVIDIA. We'll also look at the future of stocks like Figma, NIO, and Rivian. You won't want to miss a single minute.
JOYUP Invest Podcast. Invest better every day. Hello, dear listeners, and welcome to Wall Street Wake Up, the show that wraps up and updates you on what's been happening in the U.S. stock market and markets around the world over the past 24 hours. The first thing I have to tell you about is Wall Street was in for a wild ride last night. There was a huge story that shook everyone. President Donald Trump suddenly fired Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. This news caused the price of stock futures to plummet instantly. Now, to put it simply, futures are like a down payment on a stock. Their prices reflect how investors are feeling about the market. And when those prices tank, it means investors are starting to lose confidence. This story has created a lot of concern in the market. Normally, the Fed is supposed to work independently, free from government interference. When politics gets involved like this, the market starts to worry that the U.S. economy's credibility could be at risk. But one thing we learn from stories like this is that politics and uncertainty can always affect the market. As investors, we need to pay close attention. That wasn't the only story heating up the market. Last night, our friend, Uncle Trump, also took to social media to threaten new import tariffs and export restrictions on technology to countries that are trying to impose a digital tax on top U.S. tech companies like Apple and Google. This digital tax is basically a way for many countries to collect taxes from foreign tech companies that operate there without a physical headquarters or factory. Uncle Trump sees this as discriminatory and unfair to American companies. This issue directly affects countries in Europe and India that are starting to use this law. It also highlights the ongoing trade tensions between countries. So, as investors, we need to keep a close eye on this to see if a new trade war is about to start. Besides the political chaos, investors are also watching another big story, the upcoming earnings report from the super hot company, NVIDIA. It's no surprise that investors are being extra cautious because everyone is on the edge of their seats, wondering what direction Mr. Jensen Huang will take NVIDIA in. This stock is seen as a benchmark for the entire AI market. What we should focus on isn't just the numbers, but what NVIDIA says about its future plans, like launching new chips or expanding into other markets besides data centers. These things will tell us a much more interesting story about the company's long-term growth. Now let's move on to stories from the company side, starting with the buzzworthy company Figma. If you're not familiar with them, Figma is a design software company that Wall Street analysts are starting to follow and value. Their overall view is pretty cautious. Analysts from big firms see Figma as a market leader with a bright future. But they're asking, is the company's value too high? The stock is currently trading at more than 35 times its sales, which puts the risk and reward in balance. So investors are hesitant to price it much higher. Here's an interesting point. Even with the high valuation, some analysts believe the company's new AI product, Figma Make, could be a major growth driver in the future. This is something investors need to watch closely to see just how much revenue the company can generate from its new AI technology. Let's talk about electric cars. The NIO stock, which not many people were paying attention to before, has surged by over 90% in the last 2 months. Analysts at Morgan Stanley are now asking, will this rally change how investors view the stock? They summarized 4 key points. Strong NIO ES8 pre-orders, a better inflow of capital, a change in investor sentiment, as they're now more interested in new models rather than just risks.
The stock price surge gives the company more power to raise capital. This stock rally isn't just about numbers. It's also about building confidence with investors and the capital market, which is great for the company's long-term operations. If NIO can maintain this growth, this positive change could be the start of a strong uptrend for the stock. Let's finish with another EV stock, Rivian. A recent survey by Needham found that consumers feel very positive about the upcoming R2 SUV. The R2 SUV is expected to be priced around $50,000, which will help Rivian break into the larger US midsize vehicle market, since the company previously only focused on more expensive models. The survey shows that consumer interest in buying the R2 is very promising. Here's the opportunity for Rivian. Analysts believe that current market expectations for R2 deliveries in 2026 are still moderate, and that's where the opportunity is. If demand skyrockets, the stock has a huge chance to grow. The high satisfaction among the first R1 owners is also a great sign that Rivian's quality is trustworthy. Investing isn't just about the stressful things we see every day. There are always new opportunities waiting for us to discover. The key is to look at the big picture and understand how each story affects us. I want to thank investing.com for all the great information today. Now, let's take a look at the individual stock prices related to today's news in a new segment, JOYUP Forecast. Let's start with the EV stock, NIO. The monthly chart for NIO shows a clear picture. This stock has been in a continuous downtrend after its massive surge in 2020-2021. The price is now moving in a narrower range, which we call a descending channel. Simply put, investors are still not confident about this stock. It has a resistance level at around $10 and a support level at around $4. I believe NIO has to prove itself first by showing a significant increase in sales or announcing a major partnership before it can build confidence and enter an uptrend again. Now let's look at a stock we're all very familiar with, Apple. When we look at Apple's daily chart, we see a completely different picture. The chart tells us that this stock is in a clear, long-term uptrend, like a plane steadily gaining altitude. The fact that the stock price is always moving in an upward channel shows the company's very strong fundamentals, from iPhone sales to other services and new innovations. So when the price corrects, it's usually just a short-term dip before it goes on to set a new all-time high. And another giant worth watching is Alphabet, or Google. Google's daily chart shows a very interesting picture. This stock is in a short to mid-term uptrend and is moving in a narrowing upward price range, which is a signal we need to pay close attention to. If Google's price can break the resistance at around $220, it has a chance to quickly surge. This is because Google has very strong fundamentals from its advertising, cloud computing, and AI businesses, which are all technologies of the future. Last but not least, let's look at the new stock, Figma. Figma's daily chart shows a rather volatile movement. After its price surged, the chart is now in a downtrend, which shows the current momentum is uncertain. I think it's still hard to say what direction the price will go, so we need to watch it closely. The company is in its early stages of growth and doesn't have a long history to show a clear trend. So, for the price to go back to an uptrend, it needs strong buying pressure and continuous positive news to support it. Last but not least, let's look at the new stock, Figma. Figma's daily chart shows a rather volatile movement. After its price surged, the chart is now in a downtrend, which shows the current momentum is uncertain. I think it's still hard to say what direction the price will go, so we need to watch it closely. The company is in its early stages of growth and doesn't have a long history to show a clear trend. So, for the price to go back to an uptrend, it needs strong buying pressure and continuous positive news to support it. All of this is just my personal view. It's not investment advice. Please use your own judgment and do thorough research before making a decision, because
all investments have risks. Before we say goodbye today, if you're a stock trader and you have questions but don't know who to ask, feel free to leave a comment and we can chat. See you next time. Bye-bye.